Hey, can we real quick have a debate about the Heisman Trophy?
Yeah.
I still think the Heisman Trophy is awesome.
Why do you say?
Because I still think it's one of those awards that no matter, like, we did a little feature package with the Utah Grizzlies a couple of months ago where we took Tyson Whiting out and we had him ask people questions about hockey. We asked a manager of a shoe store at Fashion Place, what's the name of the trophy that you win when you win the championship in the NHL? What's the name of the trophy you get? And she said the Heisman Trophy. It was funny as hell. But that's why the Heisman Trophy is awesome. Everybody knows the Heisman Trophy is important. Everybody knows, hey, that's this guy. He won the Heisman Trophy.
That's Buddy the Heisman winner.
He won the Heisman Trophy. Wow. That's Reggie Bush. He got stripped of the Heisman Trophy, and I was happy to see it because I'm a Notre Dame fan, which means I can't root for USC, Tanner. Anyway, the point is, the Heisman Trophy is just prestigious, and it's one of the few individual awards that we all recognize as amazing. And I think my guess is that it'll come down to Stetson Bennett and Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams should win it. And I hate USC.
Yeah.
I think Caleb Williams should win.
There's just something about him. I hate USC as well, but I respect his game. Even in the loss to Utah, I respect the game.
Now, I ask you straight away, after you hit the like button here on YouTube, because we've had almost 1,000 people watch the show today and only 49 likes.
Come on, guy.
Come on, man. Let's do this. There's 150 people watching the show right now. Can we get to 100 likes?
Yeah, come on.
Can we get to 100 likes?
We're asking you for 3 seconds of your life.
I mean, come on, let's go. But who do you think wins the Heisman Trophy? Who do you think
Williams.
Who do you think should win?
I think he should win it, and I think he will win it. I think that I think that the genesis of Caleb Williams winning the Heisman started with Lincoln Riley. I think Caleb Williams had a reputation about him at Oklahoma. I think you knew immediately when Lincoln transferred, if you will, to USC, and Caleb went with him, and Lincoln brought a bunch of other talent around him. You knew that Caleb was going to be front and center in the Heisman. It was only going to be a question of how far USC could go as a team and if they could crack the college football playoff. Now, obviously, they come up short. Obviously, Utah did what Utah did, and it was super exciting to watch and very impressed by Kyle Whittingham and the boys. That said, I still think Caleb Williams had a hell of a game, right? I think he's had a hell of a season. I think he's one of the main reasons they've gotten as far as they've gotten because everyone knows that SC defense is garbage. Everyone knows that. And everyone knows because they're garbage, Caleb Williams has had to do more than any other quarterback in the league, right? Now, he's been given more of an opportunity, right? Because if your defense sucks, your offense is obviously, going to get more time on the field because the other team's either going to score or whatever. They're going to have short possessions. So it works both ways. But to me, I just think that Caleb Williams, is the most talented of the bunch, of the 4 of them that are in it. And I think he's played a pretty good schedule. And I just think he has the it factor. It's not just because he's at SC. If this guy was at Alabama, he'd be playing for a national championship right now. I have no doubt about that. But he's not. He's at SC. That said, I still think that's good enough.
Does Stetson Bennett get enough credit? Does he deserve to be, a guy that's a top 2 or 3? Probably. I mean, Duggan probably deserves it more. But you guys know who I'm going to say. What's stuck in my craw is that CJ Stroud is being touted as this amazing dual threat quarterback. And I just don't view him as a dual threat. I don't. Sorry, man. And I know that we got a ton of hate the other day on YouTube comments because I said that CJ Stroud is not a dual threat quarterback. The guy averages 2.2 yards a carry. So again, explain to me how he belongs as somebody that, he's this amazing quarterback. And again, explain to me how a guy that completes 66% of his passes, 37 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, he's got 74 yards rushing. And he's being put up as this amazing dual threat quarterback. He's not a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah.
So what is he? CJ Stroud is a pocket passer. who only completes 66% of his passes, 3,340 yards. And I just don't see that. Like, if you look at the numbers that Max Duggan put up, and you look at the fact that he doesn't compete or complete that many, like 65% of his passes and 3,320 yards, 30 touchdowns and 4 interceptions against a schedule that's far superior to Ohio State. Far superior to Ohio State. He plays K-State twice. Both times K-State was ranked 10th and 17th. An 18th ranked Texas team that he beat. And that game was at DKR in Austin. He beats Oklahoma State and has a massive game doing it. He beats number 19 KU. He beats number 18 Oklahoma.
Yeah.
He played a legitimate schedule.
I'm for real.
He plays a legitimate schedule with ranked opponent after ranked opponent in one of the most difficult conference schedules. Or you can just go look at C.J. Stroud, who, in my opinion, plays, a Notre Dame team that was ranked 5th. Okay, 223 yards. Well, Arkansas State.
Because it's
Toledo, Wisco, a terrible Wisconsin team.
Yeah, I don't
Rutgers.
think that Stroud. I don't think that anybody disputes Stroud's schedule is soft. I think
But
what the problem,
there's a real good chance he finishes 2nd or 3rd in the Heisman vote.
Yeah, and I think the reason for that is the Ohio State marketing machine. And I'm not even being salty or snarky or anything. I think that the marketing machine is a huge factor in the Heisman, but I think the number one factor is the story you have to tell. So when we look at Duggan and Caleb Williams, they have stories. Hey, transferred, right? Hey, year one, new location, like a lot of pressure, like a lot of expectations.
But I can tell you the heart surgery story with Duggan, and he only finds out about this heart surgery because of the COVID pandemic. And I mean, it's amazing to me. Stetson Bennett has a story. Everybody's like, oh, well, C.J. Stroud has injuries. Football hurts. Everybody has injuries.
Yeah, everyone's got injuries.
Everybody's got in. Well, he didn't have Smith and Jigba. Well, everybody has injuries, dude. Everybody. Look at how many games the top guys at SC missed. A ton.
The question you're not going to be able to get away from if you're the Ohio State apologist, if you're a C.J. Stroud apologist, is what's special. Because the stats say he is a pocket passer. I agree with that. The schedule says he didn't play anybody, right? And it's well known that the Big Ten is 2 teams, right? And most years it's Ohio State. Michigan has the one-off year. So to me, I just don't think Stroud has the resume. That's the problem.
I think it's Caleb Williams by a long shot.
I think it's Williams and Duggan, and then Bennett should be a distant third, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I really hope you're right. I just, oh, wow. What is this? From Pete Thamel, ESPN College Football Insider. 10 schools have come to an agreement to form a new football-only conference with the stated goal of moving from FCS to FBS at the earliest practical date. Well, that's interesting. It's the Athletic Sun WAC teams pairing up, attempting to move to FBS. So they're small schools, obviously. Stephen F. Austin, Abilene Christian, Utah Tech, Southern Utah, Tarleton State, Austin P, Eastern Kentucky, Central Arkansas, and Northern Alabama.
Well, you know what this is. This is a ploy to get into the college football playoff.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, that's really interesting because Utah Tech is the one that really stands out to me. Obviously, well, we're in the state of Utah, but I think Utah Tech has everything they need in place to grow and to do this well. Mm-hmm. I think they can absolutely do it. And I think this is really interesting because this takes me back to 2015 when USC, Texas, and BYU and other schools were trying to figure out, hey, how do we get out of situations we don't like? Can we form another conference? At the time, they weren't able to do that. There wasn't enough money in TV. But now you look at USC and UCLA, what did they do? They left their conference. You look at Texas and Oklahoma, what did they do? They left their conference. What did BYU do? They left Independence or in the Big 12. There are always going to be institutions that are unhappy with their situation. But this thing, I think Utah Tech is Is sleeping giant too strong?
I mean, they're going to have to prove that they're that legit. I mean, sleeping giant to me would mean that they're a team that's just waiting for more exposure, and all of a sudden they're going to pop off.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Because Utah Tech, Dixie State, now Utah Tech, has always had good athletics. Like, I mean, from baseball, football, like their football program has put out good players.
But you're really going to try and sell me that they could compete with, TCU.
Not right now. But if Utah Tech gets to the FBS level, if they're able to generate more funding, and if you're an FBS team, you're going to be able to generate more revenue because you're going to have better facilities, you're going to have more TV exposure. Like, yeah, I think if you put more money into that program, which will allow them to have a bigger reach recruiting-wise, which will allow them to have more exposure, yeah, absolutely. I think Utah Tech is a sleeping giant. And I think there's a lot of potential there. And yes, Boyd Lake, you're exactly right. Utah Tech is one of the best FCS programs in Southern Utah. See what he did there?
Right.
Because Utah Tech is in St. George.
Right.
Right. Luis
Capazzo
says Utah Tech, the school that is not a tech school, Dixie for life.
Right.
Okay. Justin Solis, this coming from an SUU alum. He says SUU and Utah Tech are not FBS schools, but they will be. I'm telling you, Utah, and I know it sounds ridiculous, and clearly everybody's siding with you on this. I am telling you now that Utah Tech has every opportunity to be. There's no reason they can't be Weber. There's no reason they can't be. They're at that level. There's no reason that with proper funding and exposure that Utah Tech can't be a Division I program.
If you feed the plant, it's going to grow. I don't disagree with that premise. I think that this is kind of out of nowhere, in my opinion. Like this whole forming of a new conference and But
I don't think it is. This has been long in the making. Very clearly, they're long in the making. They're in the WAC now, and you're going to try and take. But go back to Grand Canyon. Look at Grand Canyon University in Phoenix. GCU is a sleeping giant. This is the exact same thing as GCU basketball.
But to me, what's the difference? What do I know that I'm getting in GCU? I know that I'm getting a dominant marketing machine at that school. That school is special in that regard.
Well, and what GCU is, they spend a ton of money on what? Facilities.
Yeah.
They have one of the most beautiful campuses in the country at GCU.
I can't tell you what Utah Tech looks like. I can't tell you where Utah Tech is. I can't tell you the name of a single player that's involved in any sport at Utah Tech.
But before we knew of GCU 5 years ago, would you have known where GCU was?
No, but the difference is that GCU turned it up. And yeah, Utah Tech can do that. But where we differ on this is I've never been this believer that you can try and sell me that you can be Weber and you can start climbing the ladder. But until you actually are able to recruit a kid away from, the Aggies, let's say, or a different, I don't believe that Utah Tech's ever going to get a talent that wants to go to Utah. That's just not, you shouldn't be having that conversation.
But you're using your current day mindset on that. I think you have to project forward. If you spend more money because you make more money, you're going to win more games and you're going to be able to recruit. And Utah Tech is for the next decade is probably going to be relying on the junior college transfer. They're probably going to be relying on the transfer portal. That's your lot in life, right? But that's how you build a program. It's a long climb. There's no question about this. It's a play for more money. This is the Big 12. This is the Pac-12. It's a play for more revenue. Yeah. And I think it's brilliant. And I again will go to my grave saying Utah Tech's a sleeping giant. Give them the opportunity, give them the tools, give them the money, and let's see what happens. Because I think they absolutely can do it. Retro Shoes says, bro, talk about the Big 12 already.
Dude, we spent an hour talking about the Big 12. Go back to the beginning of the show.
Appreciate you watching the show. Jeremy says Utah Tech and SUU has good facilities and coaches and players that could work. Time will tell. Yeah, time will tell. Time will tell. Justin Saul says, I was on the cross-country team at SUU for a season. Unless something has changed, in the last 3-4 years, they do not have FBS facilities. They don't.
But I think they can. I mean, it's not. I mean, like literally, they can make FBS facilities. I don't doubt that. I'm just saying that it doesn't, like, this type of thing doesn't just happen. Like you have to have really special leadership at each individual school for this to be successful. So that's where, I say, okay, yes, it's possible. I agree. If you feed the plant, it will grow. That's just how business works. Like, more money, more exposure, more tools, you're going to grow, right? But at the same time, what?
This is an all-time comment. This is why he's been elected mayor of Montytown. Jeremy Bolton, I wonder if Utah State will try to be an FBS school as well.
Wow.
Oh, what does that sound? Oh, that's Aggie tears. Never mind. That's funny. That is funny. Boyd Lake, GCU is taking advantage of the low number of unique universities in Arizona. They're not, though. Now, I should tell you, I have a huge advantage over you in this conversation. We worked with GCU. We did their basketball radio deal. Like, we know those guys really well. You know what GCU's doing? Using a massive donor base that includes Jerry Colangelo to fund their athletics, to go out and recruit in Europe, and to go across. They have one of the best baseball programs in the country.
Yeah,
that nobody knows about. They're good enough in basketball that Arizona State has dodged them. That they have arguably the best home court advantage in all of college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Lopes up, right? Lopes up. Nobody knows about them. They have elite facilities. They have, and I'm not kidding, and I've spent, we, two O's and Goose boys, we have spent a ton of time at Arizona State and in Tucson. I would take the GCU campus, even though it's in the middle of
the hood.
It's in the jungle, bro. It is not in a good neighborhood. But I would take the campus at GCU over the campus at Tucson every single day.
Yeah.
The atmosphere. Now, remember, GCU does not play college football. GCU is a better campus. GCU has more money. GCU has more fire than they will ever have at Arizona. And I think it's close. I think the student body, the hockey thing that's going on at Arizona State's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unparalleled. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable what they have going on there. Retro Shoe says, LOL, my bad. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Ron Nolan says Grand Canyon University is nowhere near the Grand Canyon. Well, it's actually in Arizona, but you're right. It's not. Tanner being snarky as usual. Yeah, SUU is a sleeping giant too. No, it's not. No, you clearly don't understand the setup at Utah Tech, Dixie State.
Yeah.
I mean, you clearly don't get that. Greg Romano says, are the state politicians willing to pay the money to raise the athletic program at SUU and Utah Tech? I don't know. To win in major college football, you have to have donors, you have to have boosters, you have to have local money. That's how you win. It's not the state, it's the local. Absolutely, it's the local. Giggity says GCU plays college football. They do have an elite soccer program. No doubt about that. Dallin says, morning, just getting on. Like the video, boys. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Hey, where are we
everybody.
At on likes? Where are we at on likes?
Where are we at on likes this morning? We are at 85 likes. We've had 1,000 views. There's 151 people here. Please click the like button. It really helps the channel grow. By the way, we are a rocket ship moving towards 9,000. And again, if we get to 9,000 subs, we are going to randomly pick one of our subscribers, and we are going to take you +1 to a Jazz game against Cleveland. Absolutely.
Donnie's return.
We're going to take you to a Jazz game. We're going to buy you anything you want in the team store. Please buy a sweatshirt. Don't buy a custom player jersey. That's dumb.
Donnie, please.
But we have to get to 9,000 subs by the end of December to do that. So we are at 8337. 8337.
Yep.
Right. So what is that? 643.
Got to average 30 a day to get there. We've been exceeding it. We've been doing about 34 a day.
We are officially 22 days away, and we need 643. 643 divided by 22 we're under 30 subs a day now.
That's what I'm saying. You guys keep chopping it
29
down.
subs a day now. You guys are doing a great job, and we really appreciate that. Please do consider giving us a thumbs up and a like right now. It really helps the channel grow. Dallin says, why do you guys say to buy a sweatshirt and not a jersey? One, the purple jersey for next year is going to be better. Two, none of these players are going to be on the team when they win a championship. And three, the sweatshirt game in the team store is amazing.
Take that, you clap-having Jezebel.
That's what it is. You know. Justin Salas says, and by randomly, he means he's picking me. Sorry, boys. Well, we weren't supposed to tell anybody.
When you send us nudes in the shower, you know,
what more do you want?
Yeah.
What more do you
Come
want?
on.
And yes, Marcus asked me if there's going to be new Monty Show gear. Allegedly. Mrs. Monty is working on it, but she broke her arm. She's she's recovering.
And as you can see, I'm going through some shit right now.
By the way, I really do appreciate everybody who's asked how Mrs. Monty's doing. She had a snowboarding accident less than a week ago, a Saturday up at Canyons, and she broke her arm, her upper arm. So we got her a new sling that she put on yesterday, and she had the best night of sleep she has had since she had the injury. So she slept really well, and so we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys asking. She's doing great. Dallin says, knowing the luck of Monty, he will go to the game with roughs. No, hell no. Nertlock says, the Monty Show is a sleeping giant. It is. You guys need to wake it up. You know. Tanner says, no, Nertlock, the Monty Show is a giant that's been awake for a while. Wow, look at that. Tanner said something nice about me.
There you go.
I appreciate that. Lopes fan Gabe says GCU baseball will have a top 5 pick in this year's MLB draft in Jacob Wilson.
Yeah, dude. Baseball program's a powerhouse.
I think people don't understand that GCU is not just some local regional school. I mean, GCU, now that, and Dan Marley took the basketball program to a certain place, but now, I mean, the program's great. Andy Stankiewicz, like the whole baseball thing, their campus is amazing. And again, I think it's in the jungle, dude. But they even have like all the foods you need, like everything you need. You should go check it out. You should check it out. Absolutely. Jeff Johnson says, I'll come for the stadium food. GCU has great stadium food. You mean GCU, right? Has great stadium food. All right, real quick, drop your comments right now. Who do you think should win the Heisman Trophy? I think the Heisman Trophy's awesome. I think Caleb Williams is the guy who should probably and likely win the Heisman Trophy.
Right. Yeah.
I think Duggan is probably going to be third to CJ Stroud second, which will piss me off to no end. Because it really will.
Yeah, I like I said, I think Caleb Williams is the natural leader of the pack here.
Am I too harsh on CJ Stroud?
I just think you're not going to sugarcoat it, Like, yeah, you're probably borderline Ohio State hater, which is fine, But I don't disagree with the points you make. As I've said repeatedly, like, you haven't played anybody. Like, you're not a dual threat quarterback by the stat sheet, which is what Heisman voters go off of. You're not. Like, I just think it's funny, and this has been my gripe with college football for years, since we've been doing the show. Show's been around 8 years. It's been my issue for 8 years. College football is not determined by the stat sheet unless we're talking about the Heisman, right? Unless we're talking about very select situations. College football is determined by the hype machine, the sports centers, the news cycle. And voters who cover soccer in Minnesota or badminton in Connecticut, are just going to vote on a quick Bleacher Report search. And that's the problem. The college football system is broken. That said, Caleb Williams wins the Heisman. They got it right.
Stetson Bennett and Georgia have won 15 straight games. They're undefeated. They're champions of the SEC, and I don't know that he'll finish top 3.
Yeah, because that works against him.
And the stat sheet isn't great.
Yep.
Stat sheet's not great.
Yep.
So
that defense has won 15 straight games, not Stetson Bennett, according to voters.
Well, and I don't know that that's wrong. But here, let me ask you this real quick. Do you guys think the vulgarity on the fingernails of Caleb Williams, the cursing, the F Utah, which he did all year long, do you think that sours some voters to him?
No.
I
think people love that. I think
my
people
God.
I think that people in Utah don't like it. because Utah's an extremely conservative state. But I think, Southern California is about that. I think, people love, especially in football, people love the rah-rah, the FU mentality, the we're going to steamroll you mentality. They love that, dude.
Wow. I think
look no further than Oregon fans saying F the Mormons. I mean, this is not a secret.
Yeah. Listen, I think I should stop. I think the funny thing is that the voting process for the Heisman sucks. I think we all know that. But I'm telling you right now, voters care about that. And I think, because if we're just looking at numbers and performances, the fact that Caleb Williams went to Oklahoma, left Oklahoma, went to USC and didn't fall, he rose, that he's better today than he was last year. The numbers he put up, the performances he put up, the injuries they dealt with, his numbers still went up. Like, he is the best player in college football.
Mm-hmm.
He will not win unanimously. And I watch a hell of a lot more USC football than the average dude does. I think he should be the unanimous choice. I think that highly of Caleb Williams' performance. He will not be unanimous because of those fingernails, in my opinion.
Mm.
And I think it will be asked of him. And I think it should. I think it should. That's just me. Jeremy says Max Duggan is a beast. Dude literally was crawling off the field in the championship game. Yeah, football hurts.
Nobody cares that he was crawling off the field in the championship
I think
game.
the heart surgery COVID story is incredible. And if you don't know that, go look it up. Cam Harrison says Jaron Hall for Heisman. Jaron Hall won't even play in the New Mexico Bowl, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, I thought you said the New Mexico Bowl.
Yeah. Well,